Hi class, today we're going to take a look at 1.2, so circles, number 4. So we want to write the standard form of the equation of a circle with endpoints 7, 2, and negative 9, 5. So for this, we need to remember a couple of things. We need to use the midpoint formula, we need to use the distance formula, we need to know the equation of a circle in standard form. So here's our standard form equation. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And h is our distance from 0 in x direction. K is our distance from 0 in y direction. And r is just our radius. Okay, so we need to find these h, k, and r. We don't have those yet. So to find h and k, we need the center of the circle. So to find the center, we're given the endpoints of a diameter. We're going to need to use the midpoint formula to find the center. So for midpoint, we have x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. There's our midpoint formula. Okay, so for us right now, for the midpoint, we're going to have 7, 2, which will be x1, y1, negative 9, 5, x2, y2. So we're going to plug it in. 7 plus negative 9 over 2, 2 plus 5 over 2. And this will give us negative 1, 7 halves. So we found h and k essentially. Negative 1, this is our h, and 7 halves is our k. But we still have to figure out the radius, okay? So we're going to use the distance formula to find that radius. So our distance formula, let's start a new sheet for that. Our distance formula is that r is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, and in this case, our x2, x1, y2, y1, we want to find the distance from, let's see, we have a center here to an edge, right? So our center is at negative 1, 7 halves. And then we can use either point they gave us that was on the edge to find the other one. So let's say this is, oh, I don't know, now they don't make sense how I have them, but let's do 7 halves, knowing this isn't to scale. Okay, so x1, y1 is going to be negative 1, 7 halves. x2, y2 will be 7 and 2. Okay, then we're going to substitute that into the distance formula. So x2 was 7 minus negative 1 here, plus 2 minus 7 halves squared, all under the radical. Okay, so 7 minus negative 1 squared, that's going to be 8 squared. 2 minus 7 halves, well, we can do that off to the side here. 2 minus 7 halves. So that would be 4 halves minus 7 halves, negative 3 halves. Okay, So then we can square both sides of those. So r is square root of 64 plus 9/4. Okay, then we can add 64 and 9/4 if we make them both into fourths. So we'd have 256/4 plus 9/4 is going to give us 265/4. Okay, so that's our radius. So now we need to put everything into our equation. Okay, so we have x minus h for us was -1, so it becomes x plus 1 squared plus y minus our k was 7/2 is equal to square root of 265/4 squared. Now we don't leave it like that, square root 265/4 squared. When we square it, the square root and the square cancel, so we get x plus 1 squared plus y minus 7/2 is equal to 265/4. And this is our final answer for the equation of our circle. Okay, I hope this helped.